What's up, everyone? It's Tall and Matt. Just want to say thank you for everyone that's been listening to the podcast for the last few weeks. It's been so awesome to see the response from everyone. Crazy times, but you know, everyone's just got to keep staying inside so we could all be healthy and go to barbecues in a few months.
That's just terrible.
Bad news.
I can't believe it.
Bad news.
Extra, read all about it.
Bad news.
Hey, yo, bad news. Fuck going on?
Are we good to go? Yeah. Sweet. We are rolling.
And we're back.
We're back. Another episode of Bad News.
Bad news.
So that's what this is it. We just give people bad news all day.
Talk about other people's bad news.
Yes. No, this is awesome.
It's only good news.
It's been a fun ride so far. Got a special guest today. We got Trav. He's in town. He's running around doing some cool things. I've known Trav for over 10 years. It's a long time.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe longer.
Maybe longer, like 15 years.
Yeah.
Maybe longer. But,
Yeah.
you know, Trav is someone I look up to. You know, he's I've seen him grow from just like a regular graffiti kid to just like an amazing artist. And it's like, I think now he's like fully like the surface is like exploding for him. He's becoming something way bigger than what he was meant to do. And it's been pretty cool to watch. When we first started this project, I had Trav come and work on some construction walls to beautify the place because we had so much construction wall. And
Yeah.
remember that? It just
This is
looked
all tunnels.
Gotham City.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I got to keep the wall he did, but
I know.
you know.
I can't believe we let that just disappear.
I remember when I was talking to Trav, I was like, look, this is not going to be here forever. And I was really bummed saying that, you know, because it's like,
It was so good.
How much time did you spend on that, Trav?
I'd say like 2 weeks ish.
Right.
Because it was going smooth like in like 3 or 4 days, and then the fire marshal guy
That's
came
right.
and like
Middle of the night.
I was like painting, like I was doing some kind of like blend or something with like I didn't have like an interior spray paint, and then it like all hell broke loose. Like all the card ladies at the table were like covering their nose with their shirt, complaining, and then I just see this massive human fire marshal guy like banging on the lift. Hey, who sent you? And I just got on the phone and was like, yo, Tall, I think you should get down here.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. So, but let's start so people can kind of know like who you are, where you're from.
Right.
Where are you from?
All over. Born in LA.
Yep.
Then like raised out in Visalia, between Visalia, bounced around to Fresno, was up in Portland for a while, back in LA, back over there, back in LA,
Yep.
all over, up and down the West Coast.
And then your home now is LA.
Yes.
Nice. At what age were you like, I'm going to get into the graffiti world of racking, painting, bombing,
Mhm.
travel the US before you even knew what it's like to travel the world to do stuff like that?
Yeah. I mean, I remember being in like 7th grade and I remember in 6th grade, I had this 6th grade teacher and they taught us how to draw like a block letter with like a 3D on it. Like just a font, like almost like some sign writing kind of thing. And I really like, it just felt natural to me to be drawing typography that way. And then in 7th grade, I met this kid and I remember he drew, I couldn't tell you his name or anything, but I remember clearly like what he drew. He drew this like simple graffiti piece that said time and the dot on the I was like a clock. And I thought it was like,
Yes. Change your life.
yeah, I was like, what is this? And then he was like, yeah, it's like graffiti. And he brought a graffiti magazine and I was just like, what the fuck? And then,
Do you remember the magazine?
nah, it might've even been like Subway Art or something,
Right.
but from then on, like I just stopped doing school. Not that I did schoolwork anyway. I kind of hated school, but
Same. Yeah.
I just spent the time in class with this kid, like competing, like friendly competitions, drawing. And then I kind of had experience like shoplifting with some other kind of hooligan friends that I had. And so I just quickly was able to just go get paint and kind of pull all my friends at the time, like into these hooligan activities. And we just all started kind of painting. And yeah, so that was about 7th grade.
It's amazing. I remember when I was coming up, when I first started noticing, before we even became friends, I used to see your stuff on trains mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That was one of your things. Like you used to, I feel like you used to bomb more trains, maybe because the internet didn't really exist yet. And I would see stuff float around that was, more trains that you were doing.
Yeah. For me, like growing up, those early years, like I was in Visalia, and
where is that, by the way?
it's like right in the middle of LA and the Bay.
Got it.
And it's like it's even dead center between Bakersfield and Fresno, more specifically. It's just like 100,000 people.
Got
it. Small town.
Train yards.
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
there a graph scene out there?
There actually was, like back then it was like 20, 30 like kids like kind of going hard, and like there was some older riders that had been busted, and they kind of schooled me to the like, just don't really ride in the small town because they'll make an example out of you. Like stick to
You'll be on the cover of
trains.
like the Acorn Visalia magazine or whatever.
No, I was on the cover for the newspaper Handcuffed one time. So it's like they make an example like hard out of you there, like especially for that. And it's like it always goes with cops. Like the more press they can get, the
better.
Yeah, the faster they get promotions and whatnot. And I think graffiti is one of those things. It's like an easy target for cops to try to make a name for themselves.
Right.
As a kid, were you always like gifted with the arts, or did you kind of like grow the skill like when you turned about in seventh grade, or is that like?
I mean, I think for me with drawing and art, it's like it was just easy for me to focus on it. Like I have like really bad ADD, and I'm like breaking shit, getting into trouble like constantly. But if you put like a pencil and paper, like it can just calm me down. Like it's like the one thing that I can like spend a lot of time on. So that's kind of the answer. Cause like if you asked me back then, like I'd be like, yeah, I'm good at drawing. But if I looked at those drawings now, I'd be like, the fuck is that shit?
Yeah.
Like,
But you're always like doodling and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it was just easy for me to occupy my time that way. And then it kind of evolved into where it's at today.
That's amazing. When did you want, like, at what point were you like, I got to get out of this like town? Like, did you have years or your parents moved to LA, or like, did you like become 16, 17? You're like, I'm out.
Yeah. Well, so because I was in this small town and I was on a pretty strict probation, and I had a really strict mom, and she would like constantly threaten to call the probation officer. I was out after dark and stuff because all I wanted to do was go paint. So I would paint in the day and then get myself in more trouble because I'm getting caught right in the day. I just had to go right on things. And then once I turned 18, I kind of slowed my roll to make sure I got off probation, because I knew once I hit 18, I'm clear. Like now I'm an adult. The probation's expunged, and then I'm just like up and moving. Plus I kind of knew that like I'm an adult now. I don't have to like feel this threat from my mom, even though I know she meant well, but for me, you're at that age, you want to rebel. Like,
right, of course.
So the second I turned 18, I had been like stealing a lot, I had stacked up like a few $100s, and like I didn't tell my mom anything. I was just like the day after I turned 18, I was just like, I was on an Amtrak train to the Bay Area, and from there I went to Oregon and was just shoplifting and painting trains. Like,
don't think I'm not going to bring up that story you told me a few weeks ago about your mom thinking you're an angel, and then you going to jail in Prim.
Yeah, man. I was a teenager at that time.
So a few months, I think it was a month ago or 2 months ago, you told me a story. You were in Prim,
yeah.
But you were in Vegas with your family.
Yeah, well, so we were in Vegas. I was like 16, and it was like my mom and my grandfather. My grandfather kind of raised us. And so they were there like gambling, and I used to go to the arcades, or I told them I was at the arcades, and I'd always find like these like malls or outlet malls, and we'd just go steal. And so I told them I'm going to the arcade, and I would always pop back up when they would see me at the hotel with like new clothes, new shoes. And like, they're like, where are you getting all this stuff? And I just told them, I'm just good at Mortal Kombat. Like I gambled it with these kids, and I won, and they're like, oh wow, that's amazing. And then one day we were in that Prim driving back to LA from Vegas, and they couldn't find me. They were walking around that mall for like, I don't know, an hour or two. And then they started asking like security if they'd seen this kid. And my mom like showed them a photo of me. They're like, oh yeah, we seen him. He's on his way back to Vegas. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, he got arrested stealing, and there's no jail or anything out
Yeah.
there. So they had to send me back here, and they had to drive out here and like get me. And yeah,
You got the belt. You got the belt.
nah, they didn't. Nah, it's like, nah, I mean, I probably should have.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't be as like
Right.
hard to manage as I am today, but nah, it was all good.
That's amazing. So speaking of perm real quick, you were just involved in like a whole like mural activation out
Yeah.
there, right? I remember
Yeah.
I came to visit you out there.
Yep.
What were you guys doing out there? How many artists? How many days, weeks? What was that whole thing?
Yeah, so that was through the mural company.
Mhm.
They worked it out with the developers at that mall that they wanted to kind of revitalize the mall and kind of give consumers something more than just the typical shopping experience. So they invited 36 artists in like 3 phases to do, I don't know, some artists did 2 murals in like phase 1, I think. I was in phase 2 with 15 other artists,
Right.
and we each did 4 murals.
Yeah.
Some of which like would be like one was stacked on top
Right.
of each other or something.
And then
so,
you had like the whole building on the outside too.
Yep. So yeah, that was, so I did one like massive one in there that counted as 2 because it was
Yep.
on like a separate billboard. And then I did like a small one inside, and then I did an exterior one like outside in the parking
Yeah,
lot.
the one outside is like amazing.
Insane,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's so cool. You could see
Thank
it from
you.
the freeway when you're driving, past, if you're looking for it.
That was the goal.
that was the goal.
I was like, yeah. And like, I think I was the only artist in phase 2 that did an exterior mural. And that was like the first question I asked was like,
Right.
what's up with the outside walls?
Right.
And they were like, and I was like, I need an
I need
outside
the
wall.
outside wall. Of course.
I think I was a bit difficult, but we'll see. It was worth it. So
No, it looks really cool. I hope they get the word out more so people can like actually,
yeah.
I always see you repost people's like tags, but like I feel
Yeah.
like there should be so much more press because there's so many artists from
Right.
around the world over there,
Dude,
that
yeah.
don't come here,
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool within that project. It was awesome, especially like within the phase 2 that I was in, because there was so many people. I mean, even within MSK, you had myself, Vizzy, Askew, and Roids, and then you had so many other like amazing artists, and like it seemed like every day, like everything just got more and more like, it was just mind blowing. I
Yeah.
was just like, everybody was just like leveling up. Like I was familiar with everybody's work, but like seeing it on that level and how it was developing I was just like, oh shit, like I need to step it up. And
Yeah, no, it was some people from
Yeah.
around the world,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I remember Roids was telling me, like the dudes from Germany, or like there's some dudes from Australia, like just
Yeah.
real bombers still
Yeah.
that go out, that this guy paints like 7 trains a night. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what? It's
Yeah.
like, he's like,
Yeah.
he's beyond active. And I was
Yeah.
like, wow.
yeah,
you know?
like I like pretty much all the dudes that when we came
Yeah,
here
you guys
during
came
the
here.
project
Yeah, yeah.
for like a night and like just had a real wild night. Nice steak dinner. Thank you
Yep,
for
you're
that.
welcome, of course.
Yeah, it was dope. Like all those dudes though, they're the real deal. And
Yeah.
that's what's cool about that project is they curated it around a lot of people who have like an authentic history in graffiti.
sure.
And that was another reason why for me I wanted to like level it up, because overall I think the project's making like a huge statement, and for anybody driving into Vegas from LA or going the other way, like it's worth stopping in there and checking that
Right.
out.
Is that your first time working with Mural Company, or have you done other things with them, or is there other things maybe coming in the future?
So yeah, that is the first time. Like, but I have spoke with them about other projects prior to that, and like, I just think scheduling didn't line up, and it just never really came to fruition. But like when that one came, it was like perfect. Like scheduling worked out, everything was in advance, and it was just an exciting project. When they pitched it to me, I was just like yeah, sign me up.
I just saw recently what you just did something for
Intel.
Intel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was tripping out. It was the people touching the wall there with the little like black and white little diamond.
Yeah.
Was that actually audio placed on that, or were people just
Yeah.
tripping out on it?
Yeah, so that was like an interactive mural we did for a trade show. Intel's kind of goal within the trade show was kind of to bring the idea of life back to retail and like kind of give just everybody in the retail space kind of like a kind of new lens to look at the possibilities to kind of keep interest similar to what that mall's doing, because everybody's and it's kind of nice for me because that's exactly what my artwork is about. Like my work documents how people are ordering online and technology's kind of pushing the brick and mortar system like out of existence. Everybody's buying digitally. So it's nice that like Intel was on the exact same page. So when I went to that project, like it just kind of like clicked and meshed really well. And yeah, the wall was conductive. So it was like primed with a conductive paint. And then I worked with an engineer from Intel that wired it all and did all kinds of electric magic. I don't know how to even describe. And then next thing I know, when we're building out that mural, it was playing music as we were doing it. And I looked at my girl who helps me with like all that end of the murals on the pattern end. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? That's coming from the wall. And she was like, yeah. And I'm like, no fucking way. And then
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was watching MJ's page. MJ had all the
Yeah.
best like people just goofing off like,
Yeah.
what is this? Like
Yeah.
so geeked out on it.
Yeah.
And the geometric style that you
Yeah.
design with or you paint with is like
Mhm.
worked perfect for it.
Yeah, it was like mind blowing. Like I went to one of the first meetings and they had like a sample like wall that like you could like touch and it
yeah.
was just like dinging and all that. And I was like, what? I'm like looking around the back. Like I just felt like what the fuck? And yeah, I think on the technology side, it's like really simple. Like the engineer like went as far as to be like, no, don't interview me about that. Like that's
Right.
inadequate technology. Like, and then he's even like bugging out at the trade show. Like, why are all these people getting so amazed by this wall when they have a supercomputer in their pocket? And I'm just like, damn, you're kind of right. Like it's really simple.
Yeah, it's funny.
When you think about it
Because the
that
humans
way,
like
you know?
simple more
Just-
than,
yeah.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. You've come a long way from just graffiti. I mean, I know graffiti is always at heart because
Yeah.
I've seen what it is you still do. Do you like the way things are going for your career right now? Like, do you love painting the murals you do? Obviously, you're painting buildings, like
Yeah.
massive buildings. You don't paint really. I mean, you still do on a smaller scale, but like what you are painting right now is like full size buildings. Pretty amazing to watch,
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I am extremely happy with how things are going. And this kind of path that I'm on has been kind of like a plan that I've wanted for like years. And it's now kind of coming to fruition. And, there's obviously thoughts in my head now on where to take it in the future. And it all takes time, but I couldn't be more excited. And it sucks because like, I always thought like if I had this, in theory, like if I had this career that took me around painting buildings and large scale murals, I'd be able to paint all the graffiti in the
Right.
world that I want. And it really takes a lot of time from that. And I never thought that could ever be possible, like, from the perspective of my past. But nowadays it's just like, it's nice. Yeah. I'm hyped on it all.
Are you still active doing graffiti?
Yes and no. Like I'll go in pockets. Like
Right.
it's crazy because for me the way my brain works is like I need to like allot like specific time. Like okay, I'm gonna go to this city and just paint. I'm gonna link with this guy and just make sure that I get as much done
Right.
in that like whatever 3-4 days as I can, and then get when I come home just kind of get back to
That's it,
focusing
right.
on like the career and whatnot. But yeah. And I don't do that as often as I was. Like a year ago, I was a little bit more on it that way. And I've been a little bit burnt on it too, it's kind of nice because now I'm starting to get like that itch back. Yeah. And I'm kind of like seeing what other people are doing. And I'm like, damn, that looks like fun.
Time for a spraycation.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You actually make good money now, or, like you could like travel. And are you thinking of like starting to travel more and like, I'm going to leave the US, and go to other parts of the world and paint, because
Yeah.
you are one of the last in our chapters
Yeah.
that's like still like
Yeah.
active,
For sure. And it's kind of nice too, because like I'll do all right with the projects that I get, but it's also too like I live super light. Like I
Right.
try to keep a really low overhead because to me money is time. So like the cheaper I can live, the harder I work, the easier it is for me to like turn down jobs or take on projects that may not pay as well, but are kind of the right move and what I want to do. And because it's a little bit more about the impact of the work than the monetary gain.
Yeah.
So like I really try to like navigate it like correctly that way. But a lot of times like I'll go to like wherever, Australia or Denver or wherever some festival takes me to do a mural, and then I'm like lining up little like go out at night missions with locals and going and getting to paint, and it's kind of fun that way too because it's just like go mode, and then I'll just sleep when I get home. And
what do you think of like the modern day graffiti kid now?
I mean there's a lot of it's not what it used to be,
right?
And there is a lot of dope things happening. It's just, and it also too, like I've kind of like I came up in a really great era of graffiti, like right at like
the last good era.
Yeah, exactly. So like the door kind of shut, like I kind of maybe had like 1 foot in as like the elevator door is closing, and kind of my back foot got hit on the door, and I made it in. But like, so I feel really fortunate now that I got to see so much like dope shit and got to participate in a lot of it. But it's like nowadays it's I don't know, like, you know, because there are people that come from graffiti that have like made decent careers transitioning, but I think a lot of what the kids don't realize is like like I just said, like it's not about a monetary gain. No. It's about the impact of the work is why people do well, and some people just kind of look for that monetary gain and they get into it for the wrong reasons, maybe, or
it's hard, right?
Yeah,
like
it's a double-edged sword.
Like
it's
I see the new, like I've been going to LA lately, you know, on the weekends and stuff, and I'll just go downtown or drive, and I'm seeing these new kids, you know, like they're not that good, you know, some of them are not good at all, you know, and they have that crazy like swirly style, and you can't read anything, but they just climbed up on a bridge, and you're like, how and why are you that nuts? And no one can read any like what you're reading, right? Or you have that kid Crash who's all over LA, and he's going crazier than anyone we've ever known, you know, and I'm like, he really is. Like I'll give that kid that. Like I'm like, okay, how did you not die? And he's filming it while he's doing it at night.
Really?
You know? Oh my God, yeah,
that's awesome.
Putting up Insta stories while he's on a bridge, and then the next morning,
damn, you know? I don't know. Like for me, maybe I should pay attention to it a little bit more. It sucks because I'm trying to focus so much on my own career. But like when I do drive around, for me, it's really awesome to see, like, you'll see a lot of OTR guys doing it, and they're fucking killing it. Right. And it's awesome. It's inspiring, and it kind of gives me that itch, which is dope. You'll see a lot of MTA guys doing it, and you know, it's fucking dope. But then there's like it's hard for me to kind of point out anybody else that's doing it kind of correctly. Or
does it ever, like, trying to word it right, like we come from an MSK family, and we're old now. Yeah. You know, where it's like you're talking about OTR and these other and MTA guys, like, does it sometimes bother you? Like you're seeing these guys, like, I gotta go hit a good spot. So it's like it's just that one spot, you know, makes them wonder, like those kids are like, fuck. Like they hit 20 spots for one good spot that you did. That's like,
I mean, for me, I just play to the beat of my own drum a bit, you know, like, and also too, like I said earlier, like I like to like travel, go specifically, paint, get it out. I've also never really been a guy that likes to like paint hard where I live. Like I've seen some of my friends and our friends get raided and that sort of thing. And LA is such a great place to make a living on the commercial end of things, that like you don't want to be on the bad side of all that.
Don't shit where you eat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I like seeing it all, and for me, it's just I don't know. I've always just kind of operated at my own kind of pace, no matter how fast or slow that was in that moment.
Right. You lived in Detroit for a bit, right?
I guess, yeah.
Because you went in with Revoke for a bit.
Yeah, but like, so like, it wasn't like I like lived there. Like I would fly there for like a month and then come home for like a month and then go there for a month. I was staying. I stayed at his house for the first time, but then we like moved his house because he moved his family back.
When you were doing that, were you his assistant?
Yeah.
So like,
so that was the whole reason.
and that was
like,
the beginning of like, he was doing the wood chips and stuff.
Yeah.
How was that? How, like,
It was life-changing
Right.
for me, to be honest. Like, I got a call from him early in the year in 2013, and he's like, hey, are you interested in coming out for like 1 month to assist me? I got this show coming up in New York. And I was like, yeah. And it was a perfect time because I had kind of just quit drinking. I had just moved back to LA. I wasn't doing as well. I was a little bit like trying to find my footing.
yeah,
And I had nothing to lose and, you know, everything to gain. And like, how could I not go out there and work with this guy who's like on the verge of like really breaking through and doing groundbreaking work with all the assemblage stuff out there. So it was like, so I jumped at the opportunity and went out there. But what I didn't realize was all the like graffiti that I would be able to do. And that was just
Zombie
like,
Land.
yeah, it was just like, it was just awesome. Like we would wake up, get a coffee, go get photos of what we did the night before, get in the studio for a few hours. As soon as it got dark, go paint a train.
Right.
As soon as that was done,
Back to the studio.
go to a street spot
Yep.
and or two, and then like get home at like 3 a.m.
You guys kind of changed the way Detroit was thinking.
I'd say, I mean, I couldn't take any credit for that. I'd say he did for sure.
Yeah.
Like that. And plus he had already been out there for like a year or two before that, like having a blast, it seems, you know, like that place it was awesome. And I think it brought a lot of life back to that city because, you know, like you could call it graffiti, but it's not necessarily, you know, it's more of a,
You're doing amazing
revitalization
of course,
and a destructive thing, you know? So but it, you know, it's both. And that's what I've always liked about graffiti.
It's cool to see our friends, like they're passing that part of their like their life of like being like the kings of graffiti to including you into like art is because it's like you guys are like becoming like artists, like not that you never were, but like someone like Jason, you know, it's like, he's selling out shows before the doors even open. You know, it's like we were just talking about his new studio. It's like this, it's like 6,000 square feet, you know, like it's really cool. And like, you're next, you know what I mean? Like the way things are going, you know, like that you on that path. Sometimes people forget like how long Revoke or Rhyme or any of the guys have been working, you know, to get to where they're at, you know? Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's awesome to see. And it's been awesome to like be there. And for me being out there in 2013, it started out as like a 1 month thing. And then it just turned into like a 6 month, like 1 month on, 1 month off for the majority of the year. And it taught me a lot of what I know. And it kind of was like what opened the door to the narrative of the work that I'm on right now. Cause it started out me painting like faux signage with one shot that he would chop and maybe put a little snippet of it into his assemblage pieces if he needed like a hit of a color that he liked or whatever. And then, but what that did is it turned me on to how sign painting kind of lost its way as a career for people due to technology. People went to graphic design and vinyl printing, and it was technology pushing out this craftsmanship. And then I kind of stepped a little bit further back and looked at it at a larger scale. And now technology is just pushing all business out of the brick and mortar space completely. And that fascinates me. And it's been the thing that's been most exciting for me is how like that trip specifically has opened up.
It triggered something.
Yeah. It opened up something in my mind that led me to where I'm at today. It's fascinating. And and it's like, I'm super grateful for that. And I often don't get to say it enough or appreciate Jason for that, but it's like, it's dope because like, like now it's kind of created a life for myself, for me to kind of.
So Detroit kind of helped you kind of like, that was like a trigger.
For sure.
To be like, I want to do something different than just go bombing every night.
No, yeah. And it's also about like occupying like a longer legacy.
For sure.
Graffiti isn't permanent. Like,
absolutely not.
It's fun. It's like one of these kind of impulsive things, whatever, like go out and drinking. It's like, it's super fun in the moment, but like, you don't know. And it's not that you even regret it. It's just like, it's fun in the moment, but then it maybe gets
it can escalate
the next day or whatever the case. And it's like, it's just not permanent. So it's like with art and creating in public work, it's a way of like occupying like a longer legacy. And for me, that's what it's about.
That's great, man.
I was just going to say that that's like probably one of my favorite things to follow on Instagram lately is just the sign painters. I'm seeing more and more like starting to come back and like even like the gold gilders and all that.
Yeah,
Gold
sure.
gilders are fucking insane.
Yeah, and that shit's super dope, and it's kind of like become this niche thing where like if you're like a custom coffee shop or something, you reach out to one of these guys and you get this service from these niche artists that do that. For me personally, as much as I love it and could do that, it's never really kind of been my thing. Like in the same way I just kind of I did graphic design for a little while and realized like, oh, I don't like this. Like,
Right.
kind of taking orders each project to project. Like for me,
Totally
Matt's life.
understand that, yeah.
for me personally, like it just doesn't mesh. It's like having to do homework or something. Like that's why when I do projects or work with brands, I kind of let them know up front. Like I kind of play to the beat of my own
For
drum.
sure.
Like you can accept my portfolio or not, but like try not to dictate the work too much. And
And that's why they hired you at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
do you. And then
Yeah.
when you try to do you, it's like,
Oh, but if you look at the work, there's so many disciplines.
For
There's
sure.
like the perspective, there's so much to it. And there's almost breaking the rules too, which I love about it. It's like, it's so beautiful.
are you going to have an art show this year, you think? Are you working on a new body of work?
yeah, so there was when I was out in New York early in December, I went to Miami and then went to New York. I linked with Elliot
Yep.
Askew and Vizzy. We're working on a 4-man group show.
Oh, wow. For
in-
New York or
in
LA?
New York.
Wow.
In New York that may travel. So we looked at a space and it's
I think you showed it to me. It's a pretty big spot.
yeah. It's awesome. So it's going to be me, Askew, Vizzy, and Roids, because all of our work kind of plays to like a similar yet different kind of digital yet.
It's a good little, that's kind of like, sorry to cut you off, but that's kind of like, I feel like what kids like are missing, you know, lately is like a show like that.
Yeah.
Because we used to have known back in the day and we'd
Right.
be able to do a crew show and it was our own little thing, right?
Yeah.
We'd like Casey and I would curate stuff or, you know, like Jason would have a show and it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I think we haven't had something like that in so long. So like 4 of you guys together could be so rad, you know?
Yeah.
Because we've
Yeah.
always been like, it's
Yeah.
us or no one.
Yeah. And it's dope too, because we get to like, you know, like I even hit up Casey after the fact and was like, yo, this is a plan. Like, let's get Seventh Letter together. Let's
Yeah.
do some merch or art heist
Yeah,
and let's
absolutely.
do some prints. And so it's cool because we can create a project, quote unquote, family project, and then like pull in other people and their strengths and like start to kind of just work together, make some noise, have some fun, and just, make an impact and do what we love. I'm excited about it.
That's cool, man. It's been rad to watch you. I mean, we just met up in New York and I saw you out there for, you know, you got flown out to do something for Intel. You
Yeah.
know, it's like,
Yeah.
can't even explain it. It's like, it's rad. And then,
Yeah.
and then today you went to that Area 15, right? So
Yeah.
like you got to see like Intel. Explain to me, like Intel's got like a spot there.
Yeah, so basically with the project I just did with the trade show booth, it's going to get moved permanently into an Intel location at Area 15, and then we're just going to expand on the work to kind of like custom fit that space and maybe do some other things, advance the technology in some ways, but it's all like concepts at this point. So it's
Got
just
it.
a matter of, you know, creating the concepts, showing it and
Yeah.
getting everything approved. So kind of sky's the limit, you know, just
Yeah. Speaking
Yeah.
of concepts, like when you go and paint a wall, right? Like you showed me how you do it. Like what's your process now? Like sketching it, you know, and then
Yeah.
bringing it from an iPad to.
Yeah, so for me, I will collage photos together of different signs and just kind of find a composition that I like, erase out the backgrounds, put in patterns, layer it, add shadows, maybe even like duplicate it, like copy paste it over itself. And I just try to have fun within the tablet, which kind of represents technology, and then photos that I take of old signs that I like to kind of represent something, you know, vintage that
That was cool when you did the Palms, right? You like you made like a Palms motel almost, like vintage signs, you know, and that's
it was fun.
yeah.
It was a lot of fun. But yeah, and it's kind of fun. And it started out early on, like I would research the area where I was going to paint and then pull signage from that area and then paint a mural in whatever, let's say Long Beach, with local Long Beach signs, and kind of give them something back that's from their area, and try to rinse and repeat. So when I came here, it was like we did the Old Palm sign, like right when you walked in, and then I put in some other ones, and like the Welcome to Vegas, and
you kind of tend to stick to like 6 to 8 colors, but like on the same like
Very
blend.
monochromatic.
Yeah, sometimes it's like near 10, and it's hard because spray paint comes in like these set colors. Like, whereas if I'm using like acrylic in the studio, I can mix this one with that one and create something in the middle. Whereas like spray paint, I've had to like figure it out. Like, well, I'll use this brand's blue to make that perfect gradient to like work within my work. And it's tricky, and then it gets like confusing because it's all blue, or it's all gray, or it's all pink. It's like, but it's all these different ranges of it, and I try to keep it like monochromatic, and it's kind of like me too, like a little bit rebelling against like the comment of people saying like, oh, I like the colors, because it's one color, like tell me that, like
but even the one you did in Prim, you add that neon, you always add like a neon color, and it just like it'll literally bring out the whole mural. Like, you know, sometimes you'd be like, it's kind of flat, and then like that neon orange, right? Like comes out. Oh, fuck. This thing just came to life. You know, it's really cool, man. Or like your not checkered, but almost like zebra, you know, white and black will even pop out the whole mural. It's rad.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I don't know. Just try to have fun and create. That's the cool thing about creating the concept up front. And it helps too when you're doing like large scale work. Buildings, I learned early on that you need to kind of have the creative part out of the way when you're painting buildings at that scale. You kind of need it to be like just labor. You're just going in, you're not thinking, you're not trying to evolve it. Like the creative process is over before you even get there. Like once you're there, it's just about like gathering supplies and figuring out how to execute it to the scale without creating more work for yourself.
Right.
And it's been a little bit like, it's gotten a lot more dialed in, because every mural I've ever done, I've had my girl with me, and she helps. She does all the patterns. I'll do everything else. And
that helps speed things up a bit.
Yeah. And I just try to make her look good. Yeah. You know? But
people are like, man, Trav's a girl.
Yeah. I'll put her hair down and film her doing it like it's me. And they're like, dang, he's got some nice locks.
Yeah. You still kind of try to stay like very hush hush about who you are. You know, I mean, there's been some slip ups, you know, but like, is that more of like the graffiti mentality because you're still somewhat active, or is it because you just rather people focus about the art and not really care about who you are? You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, it definitely started out as the graffiti mentality, and I mean, it's been exposed a couple times here and there because I'm not as active as I once was, and I'm okay with that. But for me too, like I get like bad social anxiety, like when I'm out, like, and people are like, "Hey, are you so and so?" I'm just kind of like,
"Nope,
like,
gotta go to the left."
Do I owe you money? Who are you? Like, leave me alone, man. It feels weird. Like I've gone my whole life like painting graffiti, and it's just this ingrained thing in my mentality where it's like people aren't supposed to come up and talk to you. Like you do this in the dark. Like it's not permitted. And now I'll go to like a festival, and they're bringing like a tour by, and people are taking photos.
Right.
I feel like some animal at the zoo. Like it's like, what the fuck are these things?
Why
like,
are you taking photos of me?
Yeah, like get out of here. Like I'm working. But
it's so weird because like the whole thing behind graph is you want people to see what it is we're doing. Yeah. Right. You're like, man, tomorrow morning someone's gonna see this. Yeah. You know, and it's gonna be how did he do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But that's like another cool thing about graffiti is like you always want it to be a secret little society of just like, you don't know who did it and how I did it and when I did it and what time I did it. You know?
Yeah. You want to like pose those questions and open up a dialogue within the viewer.
Even the kids that do billboards, you know, like they only paint billboards, and they're like,
it's
people,
like a whole culture.
It's a culture.
In like
it's insane.
LA. It's like, it's dope. But like even like when people come up and take photos, it's like, it can get a little bit like abrasive at times where you're just like, yo, it's like, imagine if like I came up to them in like their cubicle and started like putting a camera like right on their face and like
for sure
clicking away. Like you're going to be like, what the fuck? Right. You know, like, and I get it. Like people are excited about the work and that, but like, I just don't think they think sometimes about like what it is that they're doing with the camera, because
Yeah.
it's like, yo,
It's weird because back in the day, I used to carry a camera with me all the time. There was no
Yeah.
social media. I always used to just have a camera. I take pictures, you know. But now it's like stressing out every time I take a photo because I don't know if people think I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
it's like people are like, oh, he's just gonna post
Yeah.
it, or
yeah,
but you know, like, yeah, I am gonna post it now. You
Yeah.
know, like that's what it's all about. That's why
Yeah.
you take photos. You
Right.
know, like I went to New York when we were out, and I just, you know, I took so many photos and didn't post until, you know, it was gone. But
I like that move you do.
the
You
move,
take all the photos and
3
then
days
you-
later, you know,
and then you pop them out.
yeah,
Everybody's
you know,
like, where are you? I'm over here. You're
Yeah.
like, nope.
nope,
gone.
I'm already gone. I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it, man.
But that's why I do it, you know, because some people care and they want to see what you're doing and where you're at. And, you know, that's the whole thing about social media. You know,
Yeah.
some people are very into it and some people just like keep me the fuck out of it, you
Yeah.
know, like, and I get it, you know, like I have friends that just don't want to ever be on social media, like ever. And
Right.
I guess I'm so glued into that world that I'm like,
Mhm.
what do you mean you don't want to be up in that? Like,
Yeah.
you have to be. You're hanging out with me. You're going to be
Especially
all
my Instagram.
Yeah, mine. You're going to be.
Yeah.
I'm here with you right now. We're hanging out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, so it's a little weird.
I saw you're making some more like I don't know how you say them. They look like they were the
The
circular
circles,
pieces.
yeah.
Are you gonna
Mm.
make like a sculpture figurine kind of aspect of
Are
it?
you talking about like his happy face? Like his happy face?
Yeah,
Like,
I love those. Those are
Thank
awesome.
you.
Like,
Yeah, I did those for Complex Con.
Yep.
And yeah, basically they're 3D prints. So like I'll get I'll just draw a bunch of those eyes, and then I have a buddy of mine that works with a 3D printer, and we were thinking of doing a sculpture at first. We were talking, he helped me like design it, and I was just kind of like, it was dope. I was like, cool. I was like, damn, that's exciting to see it like in a 3D rendering. But then I just didn't pull the trigger on it and just kind of like kept it on ice. And then as like Complex Con was coming, I was doing these, I just had like a bunch of these 12-inch circular panels, and I was gonna paint them fairly simple, but then I was just like, oh shit, like I should reach out to him and do the last layer as like a sculptural element that I could assemble on. And so I hit him up about it and kind of explained the idea, and then I went over there with him and kind of walked him through like how I wanted it to like breach the sides and just kind of come alive a bit more for like a flat painting. And it worked out, and it was kind of exciting to see the work come to life a little bit more and pop out at you. And it was cool. So I've got a lot more of those in the works, but I'm kind of waiting for the right opportunity. I just don't want to like flood.
just put them on your shop just for the hell of it.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
exactly.
Who are 3 artists like, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be graffiti, Trav, but like that you like look up to as far as like you're inspired by their work to go work more and like bring your stuff to life and want to get you better, you know, to like a different level.
Yeah. For me, it's I mean, in terms of like my work, I get kind of inspired by like a lot by like marketers and these kind of like free thinkers that are completely outside of work.
Right.
Like I'm really inspired by Seth Godin, and like the theory behind his book Linchpin. It's really awesome. It's just about how kind of society is outdated with the educational system. It's the educational system's created to kind of create followers and not artists and free thinkers. And as we develop into this social media, internet device world, we kind of need to be stronger individuals and kind of like more contractors than employees. And that's what that book is about. And I think it's very beneficial for people to read that book. And it's a huge inspiration to my work.
Wow.
But in terms of artists, I really truly just draw a lot of inspiration
Right.
from people in our crew. Like,
Right.
you know, you have Revoke, Zest, Retina, Push, Hence, Pose, you know, people like Casey who are just
Yeah.
constantly just 100% generous individuals that like just will give you anything, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have people like Rhyme who are just so generous with advice and Askew. And
Can you give me a little rhyme?
oh Jesus,
Can you speak like rhyme for the rest of this conversation?
yeah, baby.
Do some bubbles around it. Do
Yeah,
some clouds.
Sometimes you got to get busy in your own dojo, baby. Wild.
Inside joke in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, baby. Got to get revved up in the dojo, baby.
One of the most talented humans in the world.
Yeah. But yeah, all those fine fellas. Yeah. Love them.
That's great, man. Well, my last question I ask pretty much everyone. You know, and I know you're still trying to figure life out and you're still growing yourself, but what are some like wise words you would give kids that just got out of school, or the average kid these days doesn't leave his parents' house until he's 26 years old, you know, and that's kind of like a shocker knowing when you left your house, when Matt left his, and when I left mine. It's like, what are some wise words of like, don't freak out, you know, like the end of the world is not, you know, don't think like the end is coming, you know, like you're too old. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. For me, like I heard like one quote that really helped me and put a lot of things in perspective. And that's, the richest man isn't the one who has the most. He's the one that needs the least.
Right.
And that's why I say like, I live life very light, especially as an artist and like a contract kind of worker. Like your money is your time. Like, so if your overhead is $1,000 a month or $2,000 a month and you're making like 10,000 on a project, that allots you so much time. So you got to think about things like that, and definitely don't keep up with the Joneses. You got to just live as frugal as you can and be patient. And, you know, also don't, like, social media it's a great tool, but it can hurt people in the sense that they see the other guy that's putting out the best 5 minutes of their day, and then they're getting like very insecure about themselves. And like, you know, they think they're missing out or the grass is always greener, and it's just not the case. So yeah, stay patient. And,
it's crazy for those people that have that crazy following, you know, in the millions. It's like, then you hear they're in the hospital because they try to kill themselves because too many people were going crazy on their comments of like, just bashing them. And it's like, erase, block. Just like, there goes that person.
Yeah. Like, I mean, just don't buy into the negativity. If it's not helping you, it's hurting you. Like, don't spend time on the negative and hold on to it. Like, just keep it pushing and focus on whatever your goals are. And keep it moving. Keep it classy.
So I love it.
Yeah.
Where can they find you, Trav?
I'm on Instagram at TRAV MSK, one word.
Boom.
Do you think people read it TRAV?
For sure. That's what it is.
People are always like, man, what's up with your friend TRAV?
That's him.
That's him. He's good. You should follow him. It's fun to follow. Well, thanks, Trav.
Thank you.
I'm glad you came here and gave us some time.
I appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Trav.
Thank you.
Cool,
and
man.
We're out.
And we're out. Bye. See ya.